Hey guys, welcome to the north of Sweden and welcome to my first drive video on Volkswagen's Golf R 20th anniversary. It's been 20 years since Volkswagen launched the very first R variant, which was the Mark IV R32. I've always loved the look of that car and I think it's aged extremely well. And in fact, my first very car that I owned was a Mark IV, but unfortunately not an R32. It was the 2-litre GTI. As with many new and exciting cars on sale today, this is not cheap. In fact, it retails at £48,000, which is about £5,500 more than a regular Golf R. And in fact, the car that I've been burning around in all morning, well, that has things like the panoramic roof, head-up display, dynamic chassis control, and the beautiful Aqua exhausts. And that particular car retails at £55,000. 55 grand for a Golf. The standard car does come with things like the performance pack as standard, these 19-inch black Estoril alloy wheels. And when you jump inside, well, there's Nappa leather everywhere, front seats and rear, and you've got some carbon fibre trim. There's also some 20 badges along the side on the B pillar there, but otherwise you'd be hard pushed to differentiate it from a regular Golf R. Under the bonnet, we have the familiar EA 888 engine. So it's a 2-litre 4-cylinder turbocharged unit. They fettled with it a little bit, so it produces a bit more power, 333 horsepower in total. And the torque figure is the same, 420 Newton meters. Volkswagen claim that this 20th anniversary would do the 0 to 62 sprint in 4.6 seconds. So that's a tenth quicker than the regular R. So I doubt you'd really notice that in reality, but they have done clever things with the turbos. Apparently, when you're in the right modes, the turbos spool up a lot faster or are already spooling, so you lose that low down lag, and that's going to be interesting to experience and play with out here in these slippy conditions, because that's what you need out here. You need a really responsive throttle to get the angles and the car set up exactly right. They've also increased the top speed and lifted the limiter to 168 miles an hour. I think that's going to be fast enough for your Golf, especially if you live in the UK. A small fun fact about the Mark IV R32. In the UK, you could only get these in manual, but in Germany, you could get them in manual or DSG. And in fact, it was the first car in the Volkswagen group to showcase the DSG gearbox. And this particular one, when you walk around the back, it actually has DSG written on it. I think that's pretty cool. Right, let's get inside and out of this freezing weather. As we start our lap around this 7 to 8 kilometer ice track, I just wanted to do a big shout out to the people that organise this. Now, I'm out here as a member of the press. I'm not here as a marketing tool, and I do a lot of awesome driving experiences, as you know. But this, honestly, it doesn't get any better. They do offer it to paying customers, and that's what it's all set up to do. I was just lucky to tag on the back of it with Volkswagen UK. I believe it's about €3,500 for 4 days, and that's accommodation, flights and food. As I say, this is not a marketing video, it's simply a cheap plug because the people that organise this are so cool, so awesome, so friendly, and this event is just ridiculous. It really is. The freedom that we've had for the past couple of days out here on the ice in these awesome cars, I've never experienced it, ever. And I've learned so much about driving, it's not even funny. So if you're looking for a really, really good driving experience, look no further than this. It's just brilliant. It's so much fun. Anyway, let's talk about the car. So what changes have they made aside from that small increase in power? Because it doesn't sound that exciting. It's a bit like the RS3 Performance. I think they increased that 7 horsepower. Well, they've actually changed and played around with, whoa, let's just concentrate here. Oh, that was so much fun. I need to slow it down a bit, otherwise I'm not going to be able to talk to the camera. They've actually changed the way the turbos spool up, so they apparently spool up 30 to 40% better and earlier than a standard or regular Golf R. So what does that mean? Well, it means the throttle response, like third section here, it's so good. It just picks up immediately, and it's not to say that a regular Golf R is bad or suffers from turbo lag, but it's really, really on it. The second you pick up the accelerator, especially if you're in a more aggressive driving mode, it just does wonders. Oh, this is going to be a big one. This is going to be a big one. This is just, I'm going to be so depressed when I get home tomorrow. No offense, Lou. Oh, it's just so much fun. Look at that. That's over 60 miles an hour through there. Oh, can we get it stopped? Can we get it stopped? Now this is a really slow, naggly bit. Let's see if I can get it. Oh, yes. Volkswagen also claimed that the DSG box has faster shift times, and it's hard for me to confirm that because, well, I haven't driven a normal Golf R for about 2 years now, and I'm very much used to the ZF 8-speed automatic, which is really good, but the shift times on this are, I mean, they're ballistic. Watch this. Second, third, straight away. And they're really responsive as well. Some DSG boxes of old don't want to shift up and don't want to shift down sometimes, especially when you're on it, and that can be frustrating. But this is really, really responsive, and that's really important out here. Just grabbing another gear, third, fourth. Oh, it's just brilliant. It really, really is. Get some added drive modes. I think they're normally part of the performance pack if you go for the regular Golf R, and they give you modes like the Nürburgring mode, which is probably a very good mode to have in the UK because it makes the suspension, etc., a bit more supple. It's also really good for low grip conditions like out here or in wet weather, so I've had it in Nürburgring most of the time. There is a drift mode, I believe it's called. Let's just have a look. Yeah, drift. Now, it's kind of good, but like so many of these drift modes, it's a bit gimmicky. It does make the car artificially drift by doing fancy things with the rear axle, but it doesn't disable traction control completely, so for me it's a no-no. But I'm sure some people will find that mode entertaining. Just wait for it to rotate, and then again through here, bit of grip on the inside. I mean, who said a Golf R doesn't do big skids? It's just mega. Look at that. Oh, this is fast. 50 odd miles an hour through here. Oh, watch that bank. The good thing is, with ice and snow driving like this, well, the banks are either your enemies or your friends, because on the exit of most corners, you can sometimes utilise the bank to keep you on the track. I might just clip this one. No. It's just brilliant. As you can see, I've really, really enjoyed my time in this car and this experience in general. I think the Golf R, the Mark 8, is a brilliant driver's car. I was in no doubt about that when I tried that one a couple of years ago. And this one, well, they've just sharpened it up, made it a little bit better. And certainly out here on this amazing Swedish ice lake, it's so much fun when you turn everything off and you put it in the right mode, it's just brilliant. It really, really is. And I take my hat off to the engineers that have made and produced this car. It's a brilliant bit of kit. And at 48 grand base, it's hardly cheap. But that Civic Type R I tested recently, well, that was 47 grand. So hot hatches are becoming very, very expensive, but this is towards the sort of top of the tree in terms of hot hatches. In all my excitement on that fantastic trip, I actually forgot to talk about the negatives with the Golf R 20th anniversary. And aside from the price, which we've already discussed, there are a couple of usual Mark 8 issues that this car still suffers from. The first one being the infotainment system. I'm really not a fan of it. It's buggy and slow and overcomplicated, and I'm sure you've seen lots of people, including me, talk about that in the past. And also the overcomplicated steering wheel. In a car like the Golf R, for me anyway, I want as few buttons on it as possible. And if there are buttons, then they need to be inbound and not towards the outside of the wheel where the rim is. If you've got big hands like me, well, the inside of my thumb fouls on those buttons when you're doing ice driving or track days or any kind of spirited driving. And before you know it, you've activated the steering wheel heater or you've switched off something else with your left hand, and it just becomes frustrating. They're haptic buttons, I think that's what they call it. So those two were my real annoyances with the Golf R, but that kind of is the case with any Mark 8 Golf or any Volkswagen Group car that has that infotainment system and those silly buttons on the wheel. But otherwise, as you can tell, I absolutely love that car and I really enjoyed the experience. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Massive shout out to Volkswagen UK for inviting me out to this event. As I've said a couple of times now, this is the most fun I've ever had on a driving experience, and probably behind the wheel of a car. It really has been absolutely insane, and I've learned so much about car control. Just unreal, really unreal. Love it. And big shout out and thanks to all the organisers of this event, because they're brilliant. I'm going to miss them, really am. Going to miss everything about this. Oh, I don't want this to end. Guys, I'll see you at another video very, very soon. Take it easy.